Hey, good evening, and thank you for joining us on the Scabbard tonight. Dave Valente, uh, Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates, and yeah, it's so I got a brand new soundboard. I'm kind of messing with some of the features. Um, it has a little bit of an echo, so it's kind of disconcerting, but we'll fix that later. Anyway, feel free to give me any questions or comments. Put them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them, discuss them during the show. Hopefully, you don't hear the echo. I tried to record some stuff to see if I could hear the echo on the other end, and I did not. So, but with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, toss your comments and questions and stuff in the comment box there. It will display immediately, and I will address them. So. Busy weekend, even without the hockey, because yesterday started the World Junior Hockey Championships. They're in Sweden, so we've gone through 2 full days of hockey there, and we'll go over some of what the Buffalo Sabres prospects are doing over in Gothenburg, Sweden, and talk about the Rangers game, which is a little bit of a disappointment. And then preview tonight's game against the Boston Bruins. Let's do the stat of the night because this one just doesn't make any sense for me. Um, to scroll down quite a bit. So, stat of the night, this is the final time we see the Bruins in the regular season. We only see them 3 times in the regular season. Who in the NHL schedule office thought it was good that we play the Bruins as many times as we play the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are not even in our division? Like, we gotta have some kind of at least have 4 games against each of your division opponents and then let the rest of the, schedule fall where it may. I'd rather drop us down to, a home and home game against, the, Atla or the, Metropolitan Division and the other 2, the Central and the, Pacific divisions, and then play the balance of our games against the in division, rivals rather than, having to see Columbus 3 times a year or Pittsburgh. Um, it makes no sense to me. Your division games should matter more, and you should have more division games. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, we'll get to the Bruins game here in a minute. But let's talk about the World Junior Hockey Championship. So the first 2 days are in the books. The surprise so far is Slovakia. They jumped out on Czechia on day one. Got the better of Uri Kulik and his crew with a 6-2 victory, and then they beat the Finns today handily. or not beat the Finns. They beat Switzerland today handily 3-0. So they're cruising right now. And then the Finns are struggling at 0-2. Yeah, they had the rough first go um, against the Canadians. You kind of pencil in a loss on the Finns have a good hockey program, but um, I'm not surprised that they lost to the Canadians. But then they drop a 4-3 decision to the Germans today. So they're 0-2, struggling. They need a win because they could be in the relegation zone. Now, do I think they're going to end up in the relegation zone? No, I think they'll get a victory against. Uh, let's see, they are in Pool B, or no, Pool A. I'm sorry. They'll probably get a win against Latvia, but you thought they would get a win against Germany, so I don't know. And Latvia will be playing for their lives. So who better to send down than Finland? So um, yeah, it's been an interesting World Juniors so far. Day one scores talked about Slovakia beating Czechia 6-2. It's a rivalry game, big game for the Slovaks to get off on the right foot, and they did. Canadians beat Finland 5-2. The U.S. struggled with Norway for the first period. They didn't get any goals. Not unheard of for the first game of a World Junior Hockey Championships, but didn't put them away until later in the game. It was a 4-1 victory for the American squad. Hopefully, they kind of use that as a wake up call for the rest of the tournament. But the U.S. has been known to kind of sleepwalk in some of these World Junior, especially the preliminary round games. And then the home Swedes routed Latvia 6-0. Day two scores, Slovakia, again, I told you the 3-0 victory over Switzerland. Germany beating Finland 4-3. Czechia getting right with Norway on the schedule. Doesn't help, or doesn't hurt when you got Norway on the schedule. The World Juniors debutantes this year, promotion from Division 1A. And Czechia got a 8-1 victory, and then Canada just trounced Latvia. It was a 5-0 game going into the third, and they just kind of poured it on. That's kind of what I don't like about this tournament is that there is an incentive to score more goals. And yeah, I get Canada's got a gulf and talent, and could probably drop 10 on Latvia anytime. But I also think that they kind of run up the score sometimes, just because they can. And it does have a meaning. Like goal differential does factor in. If there is a tie in the standings, that goal differential will factor in. So it does give an incentive to teams to go ahead and drop a big one on some of the lesser teams. But yeah, that's the day two scores right there: 3-0, 4-3, 8-1, and 10-0. Our Pool A looks like this. The Canadians, not everybody's played the same number of games so far, so you got a disparity in number of games. Swedes were off. Germany had their first game today. But Canada is 2-0, and Sweden is 1-0. Germany is 1-0. Finland is 0-2. And this was Germany's first victory over Finland in 26 attempts. Quite amazing. And then Latvia is also 0-2 on the campaign. Kind of figured that would happen to the Latvians. Really, their hope is to beat either Germany or Finland and squeak into the fourth place round, or they're going to be in that relegation round with probably Norway. In Pool B, Slovakia leads surprisingly 2-0 on the campaign. The U.S. has only played one game, so they're 1-0. Czechia is 1-0. Switzerland is 0-1, and Norway is 0-2. Yeah, so that's how it's going. Let's take a look at some of the players that are playing for the Buffalo Sabres in the World Junior Hockey Championships. So Anton Wahlberg with Sweden, he scored Sweden's opening goal against Latvia on the power play about halfway through the first period. Latvia had a 5-minute major penalty to start the game and could not score on the Swedes goaltender, and first power play for the Swedes. The was really cool to watch with Anton Wahlberg is that that dude parked himself in front of the net and got a nice redirection off of a shot from um, Sandine Pellikka, Detroit draft pick on the back end for the Swedes. Also assisting on that goal was Noah Ostlund, and we'll drop to. Yeah, I'd also talk about that Wahlberg had 3 total shots in the game, was a +1 and played 18-12 in that game. And then Noah Ostlund had an assist on that Wahlberg goal, as I mentioned, and had an assist on the Jonathan Lekaramaki goal in the second. Strange thing with the European goals is that, or the IHF is that um, you can go back like a couple days later and they're adding and removing assists. So yesterday it only said that Ostlund had 1 assist in the game that was on the Wahlberg goal. They did add a second assist on that Lekaramaki goal in the second period. So he had 2 assists, a +1, and with 19, 13 minutes on ice. So good game for Anton Wahlberg, good game for Noah Ostlund, good start for Sweden. Sweden's games, they've got Germany tomorrow, then the Canadians on the 29th, so they'll have a tough back-to-back, and then Finland to wrap up the pool play, that rivalry game on the 31st. All right, let's turn our attention to Canada. Matt Savoy had a bit of a slow start in the game against Finland, which they won 5-2. He did not get any points. Finished even with 3 shots on goal, but did have 4 penalty minutes, skating 17:42 time on ice in that game. Um, he did have a better showing in the dismantling of Latvia. Had 2 assists on goals in the second and third periods to get on the score sheet for the Canadians. It's been a little bit of a work in progress with that first line, and the Celebrini line is going off. Macklin Celebrini kid is as advertised, just scoring up a storm. For Scott Ratzlaff, he has not dressed in either one of Canada's games as yet. It's not unexpected. It really would have taken for, let's say, the Canadian goaltender loses one of these 2 games that they had played for him to maybe have dressed. Again, this really is getting him prepared for next season when he'll be the one of the 2 starting goaltenders for the Canadians was the expectation. For the Canadians, their remaining games in this pool play, Sweden on the 29th and then Germany on the 31st. So they've got an off day tomorrow, um, game on the 29th, off day on the 30th, and playing Germany to wrap up pool play. For Yuri Kulik of Czechia, he had a slow start in game 1. Czechia was drubbed 6-2. Originally reported that he didn't have any assists or anything in that first game, but did get credited with an assist later on 3 shots. He was finished a -1 with 19:21 of ice time. He did get a hat trick tonight. Played an incendiary game. He had first 2 goals for Czechia to get them on the board halfway through the first period and towards the end of that first period. And then it became the Edward Saleh show for a while. He ended up getting a hat trick as well. And then Kulik wrapped up the scoring with a goal towards the end of the game to clinch his hat trick. 4 points on the night while firing 8 shots. He was a +2, 16-20, only 16-23 time on ice in that game against Norway, but still punctured the score sheet quite a bit in that game. So Czechia's remaining games versus the United States on the 29th and Switzerland on the 31st. This is actually a favorable schedule for Czechia because they get some rest. They'll rest tomorrow before the big USA game, and they'll rest before the final game against Switzerland. So they're not playing back-to-backs going into that medal round, which will help them out. Maxim Strebak, wow. Was not expecting this from him. I thought he was gonna be solid defensively, but has really contributed on the front end. He closed out the scoring for Slovakia in their 6-2 victory over the Czechs on day 1, and then added an assist on 5 shots +2 time on ice for that first game. Then had an assist in the shutout of Switzerland, one shot on goal, +2 again, and 23:38 time on ice. So he's getting a ton of time on ice. I'm sure he was happy with the shutout as well with the Swiss. I'm sure he was quite pleased with the win over the Czechs, their hated rivals, and yeah, they put themselves in really good position, um, not just to advance to the medal round, but have favorable matchup in that quarterfinal round. Even if they lose the United States or their remaining games, so Norway, they'll probably beat the Norwegians, and then if the U.S. can take care of business against the Czechs, then they will have a game for first place in that group on the 31st with the U.S. I don't know that I would have predicted this at the beginning of the World Junior Hockey Championships, but good to see the Slovaks really raise their game. The Slovakia program, I believe, is still run by one Miroslav Shatan. So a little bit of Sabres linkage there as well. And the final player in the group is Norin Panoka. He is a defenseman for the Germans. He's playing in that third defensive pair, did not score, but he did get a +1. Did pick up a tripping minor in the game against the Finns. Did play 17:34 of ice time for his first foray in the World Junior Hockey Championships. Good on him. Got through, got a win, and I think it helps secure Germany's advancement beyond the relegation zone. So Germany's good to go on that first game. It's always good to get that. If you can get one win, unless you crap the bed against the Latvians, you should be okay. And so Sweden is the next opponent tomorrow, and then Latvia on the 30th, and Canada on the 31st. So they'll have those back-to-back games going into the medal rounds. Um, getting 2 wins, maybe may give them a third place finish in that group, and that would mean this they would play the second place finisher in the group in Pool B. So lots to play for the Germans. Good to get that early win, but they need to keep winning. They need to beat that Latvian team to ensure that they're not going to take that fourth place spot and then face off against the um, top team in Pool B. All right. So um, we talked about next episode when we convene again for the game against Columbus. We'll go over what's happened since this episode with the players in the World Junior Hockey Championships. Again, I would like to see a little bit more scoring from Matt Savoy. He should be leading this team, not leading in scoring, but at least providing a little bit better offense for the Canadians. That line really hasn't really his line hasn't really taken off yet. But with Celebrini's line going off, then Savoy, there's not as much pressure on Savoy, so maybe he'll start. The 2 assists will get him going for the next game. But Uri Cooley getting the hat trick now at 5 points in 2 games. That's pretty awesome. Streebak with 3 points in 2 games. That's more than I anticipated he would getting in the entire tournament. So good for him. And the other guys are doing well. Oslin and Anton Wahlberg. Looking forward to their second game tomorrow and seeing how they progress in this tournament. All right, let's talk about the Rangers game. Hit on this one quickly. It was a shaky start to the game, but they did not collapse. They did fall down by 2 goals in that first period. Got a late goal to take off some of the pressure. Then Quinn, showing no rust from his long layoff and his scoring touch, at least, got the goal to tie it up. They were very competitive. There was a questionable hit on Ryan Johnson in the back end, and his defense partner, Eric Johnson, went to town on the guy that hit him, and it was deemed an instigator penalty, even though the other guy turned around, shook his gloves like he was going to fight, and they did fight. It wasn't like he was forced to fight. It should not have been an instigator call. They voiced their displeasure, and the reason that the ref gave for giving both Skinner and Johnson yeah, a misconduct penalty, 10-minute misconduct penalty, was because they had chirped him earlier in the game for another penalty. That's just thin skin bullshit right there. Um, uh, the ref has to be better. Yes, you get yelled at by players during the game, but you guys were missing some egregious calls and deserve to get yelled at. Looks like you guys weren't even watching the puck when the Sabres had it. So I have no idea what the hell they were doing in that game. And then to lump that awful call of instigator on Eric Johnson was just insult to injury. But they didn't let those awful calls beat them. They were resilient. Casey Middlestat ties the game late in the third. We get it on into overtime, and then UPL went for a walk. I have no idea what he was doing. Like, why? I don't know why he went all the way almost into the face-off circle when the guy went behind the net. Like, there is no reason. There would have been nothing that he could have done that would have prevented that guy from getting the pass out front. And yeah, you could pick on the other players on the ice for not taking the back check, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he could have banked it off the Sabres player. It was just it was so stupid that UPL took a relatively good start and then throws it away by swimming out towards the faceoff circle. I just have no idea why he did that, but again, threw away a pretty good start, and I thought he got his game back in order during that game. Um, has had a couple of rough starts lately, and I thought that was, he was coming back well, but then he does that at the end, and I think kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So that's the Rangers game. We're done with that one. 3 points in 2 nights. Not bad, but the Sabres really need to start stacking points, and they're gonna need to start stacking points very, very quickly. Um, they've got a 2-game streak, 2-game home stand with the Bruins and the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they got 3 straight on the road. Um, Really, they need to win 2 of 3 of those on the road, and then they've got a season-long 6-game home stand where at a minimum, they've gotta win 5 games. They gotta get 10 points out of those games, and, preferably more. Let's go on a long winning streak. Let's go one of those weird, unsustainable 10-game winning streaks. I don't care. To start stacking points and putting people on notice. Um, I think the lineup right now is as good as we're gonna get, um, at least until the trade deadline. I think I think there will be, if we're in that conversation as we get to the trade deadline, maybe we see some players coming in, players going out. We're going to have to do something soon with the trade freeze ending, and because we're over roster capacity, so some players are going to get sent down fairly quickly, and we'll see who. I got a feeling Ryan Johnson's going to be one of those, which I would hate because he's been playing awesome, but he can go down. Um, but I don't know that if you put a guy like Victor Olofsson on waivers, that somebody picks him up. Maybe somebody does. We lose him for nothing. I I, I don't know. We tried to trade him in the offseason, nobody wanted him, so we might want to take the chance. Um, but let's talk about the Bruins game tonight. So the Bruins come in 19-7-6, first in the Atlantic Division, but their big lead is shrunk. It's down to 4 points over Toronto now, coming in after losing 2 straight before the break. Pasternak leads the team. He's got the triple crown with goals with 20, assists with 24, and points in 44. And it's pick your poison with the goaltending for the Boston Bruins, either Linus Ullmark or Jeremy Swayman. Both are under 3 goals against average goaltenders and uh, above 920 save percentage. So, again, it's pick your poison with these guys when it comes to goaltending. And again, still blows me away that this is the last time we play the Boston Bruins this season, and we only get 3 games against them. Just makes no sense to me. The Bruins projected forward lines from Daily Faceoff. We've got Dan Heinen, Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak, with on the first line, Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, Jake DeBrusk on that second line, James Van Riemsdyk on the third line with Connor Geekie and Trent Frederick, and Jeremy Lauko with Beecher and Brown on the fourth line. The defense pairings, we've got Hampus Lindholm with Charlie McAvoy. Then we got Mason Lowry, who's really kind of risen through the ranks of the Bruins defense this season. And paired with Brandon Carlo with Wotherspoon and Shattenkirk on the third pairing. They've had some injuries on the back end for defensemen. Grizzlick is out for a while or day to day, and uh, I'm losing the other one. I forgot to put them on the scratches, but our goaltenders reported is going to be Jeremy Swayman, who has the better numbers to Linus Olmark. So take that for what it's worth. Remember, we beat them 3-1 last time we were out there. We frustrated them, and we'll look to do the same for this episode of the Bruins versus the Sabres. Sabres projected forward lines. We've got Jeff Skinner with Tuck Thompson and Tuck, Paterka with Cousins and Quinn, Greenway with Middlestat and Benson, Olafson with Krebs and Okposo. Our defensive pairings, Darlene Samuelson, Power, Clifton, Ryan, and we got Johnson and Johnson on the third pair. Henry Jokiharju is out. Our goalie tonight is going to be Devin Levi with Luukkonen backing up. And our scratches, Jokiharju, Jost, Robinson, all healthy scratches with Zemgus Girgensson still listed on injured reserve. So that's it. Let me check what the line is for the game. I forgot to do that before the game. It's probably going to be Buffalo minus a goal and a half and over under a 6.5, because that's kind of the standard of what they've been doing for the last little bit on Buffalo Sabres games. I'm on DraftKings. There we go. I'm not playing daily fantasy. All right. Yep. Buffalo minus or getting a goal and a half. They're goal and a half underdog, and the over under is 6. Primarily because we're playing Boston, and their goaltending is pretty awesome. 3 keys to the game. We need to have an aggressive forecheck. The thing that worked last game was we frustrated them. Containing that top line, their top line didn't really hurt us all that much in that game. So containing that top line has to remain a priority. They really are kind of a one-line team when you think about it. When you look at the stats, Pastrnak leads in everything, and then there's kind of a drop off to the rest of the team. And if you can contain that top line, you should be doing pretty good. And then clog the middle. That's what they did in the last game. Clog the middle. Block passes. The Bruins couldn't get anything going, and they got frustrated, and they started taking dumb penalties. And Pastrnak got mad, Marchand got mad, and that's how you want them to play. Get them mad, get them frustrated because they don't play as well. Let's see. On this date, December 27th, 1991, Dave Andreychuk and Pat LaFontaine scored twice, and Clint Malarchuk made 38 saves in an 8-1 victory over the Boston Bruins. So hopefully we can channel that energy tonight. Would love to see it. Said to the farm, the Rochester Americans are in business tonight. They're at 13-10, 2-1, and 4th in the AHL North, and they beat Syracuse on Saturday 3-2 in overtime before the winter break. Biro with the overtime winner in that game, and then they play Syracuse again tonight at home. So kind of a home and home, but delayed with the holiday there. So Syracuse is the top team of the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Icemen are 14-9-3. We're third in the ECHL Eastern Conference, 6 in the South Division. They lost to South Carolina, the Washington Capitals, ECHL affiliate, 3-2 in overtime last time out. And then they played their former Sabres affiliate, the Cincinnati Cyclones, which are now the New York Rangers affiliate, on Friday night to get back to hockey after the break. So let's take a look at the week ahead for the Buffalo Sabres. Only a couple of games. They do get a little bit of break at the end of the after they play Columbus and Ottawa on this weekend. They're not back in action until Thursday of next week. But yeah, Columbus on Saturday, Ottawa on Sunday. It is an early start on the Columbus game on Saturday at 5 o'clock, meaning our next episode, it's not Wednesday, it's Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we'll see you all there on Thursday. Thanks for watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Give us a like, share, subscribe, and we will talk to you all on Saturday night. Have a good one.